Has this ever happened to you? One of the most common repairs in the house is the toilet paper roll and the towel bars, which get ripped off the walls because they're put in with just common anchors and not really done for a permanent application. Today, we're going to show you how to fix this once and for all. And as you can see, I got about 3/4 of an inch over here. I've got about 1.25 inches here, so I'm a little bit farther than I want it to be, but not bad. What's important is I still have support behind the drywall here, still have support behind the drywall here, but I've got plenty of material to put my plywood in, and you'll see what that's all about here in a second. So this may seem a little bit intimidating, but don't let it scare you, because basically what we've done is we've just cut out a piece of plywood that is our material for our repair, right? And this is going to go into this hole. As I put this up here, if it's not sliding in, I can take a pen or a pencil, make a mark, and see where the material is just a little bit too heavy so that I know what to take off to make it work. So as you can see, by doing that, I got a nice tight fit with my piece of drywall. A little bit of gaps here, but nothing that some drywall mud's not going to take care of. What we're doing is we're turning this piece of plywood into our drywall wall covering. But we now can put screws into this and secure our toilet paper holder from now on. So here we go. So what I did there is I put my drywall screws in much like I would if it were drywall. I sunk them in below the surface of the drywall on both sides. And I just use my multi-tool because it's wood to clean off any of the splinters that happen from the screw going in and bulging the plywood a little bit. Now we've got a very flat surface, except for out here we've got just a little bit of paper showing that's from our cutting operation. So I'm going to show you how to fix that real quick. So now what I've got is just a piece of 100 grit sandpaper, and you can see where the paper is kind of just ragged along the edge. I'm just going to sand that off. Now we're going to mix up our 20-minute mud, and I'm going to use the Easy Pro universal mixer, and I'm going to slide this into my impact. It's got a 1/4 inch quick connect. Set that off to the side. I'm going to pour some water, and then I'm going to slowly mix this up.
Our Easy Pro mixer will mix this hot mud in the pan. As you see here, it flexes and gets down in the corners, but additionally, it'll mix our texture in the bag, extending the life of those bags to 3 years, and it'll mix your paint in multiple containers.
So I just tap a little bit of it off, push it down into a water bottle, and that's how easy it is to clean. And when you're using 20-minute mud, you don't want to spend 5 minutes cleaning your tools that you use to mix your hot mud. So it's a great tool. Now we're going to coat this just like drywall. And this is the magic in this whole patch. And I'm sure that my trolls out there are going to be like, what in the world are you doing? But this is a great patch and repair technique for fixing that toilet paper hole. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw some mud on here just like as if I were taping a patch in the center of a wall. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some paper tape and I'm going to embed this into the mud that I just threw on there just like drywall. So you can see I've got plywood going on in the middle, but I'm going to tape it up just like drywall. I like to use the technique of pulling the mud away from the tape roll, and then I come back and make sure that the mud is completely embedded under the tape. See how that's dry right there in that corner? If I left that, that corner would just peel away. So there we are. We've got a nice good bed of mud underneath that. Now I'm going to come down to this bottom level and just lightly go across it and embed it in the mud. And I'm not quite straight there, so a little straighter. And I'm going to tear it with my knife. Now my tape is there. And I'm going to go away from the way I laid it, and then I'm going to come back. Now, as you can see, I've got two little short areas I'm each end that are basically part of that 4 inches. I'm going to throw a little bit of mud underneath there. I'm going to put tape on it, and I'm going to butt my tape to the other. I'm not going to overlap it. I'm going to embed it in there, tear it off, and go over the top of it. That quick. Same thing on the other side. Now I've laid tape over all the seams that were the separation between the drywall and the plywood. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to float this whole area with this hot mud. But before I do that, this is a really important step. I'm going to grab my tape measure, and from the floor, I'm going to take a measurement to where the center of my plywood is. And you can see here it's 31 inches. I'm also going to use some other landmark, and in this case on my training wall here, I'm just going to hook the end, but I'm going to find where the dead center of my plywood is, and I'm going to mark 25 inches here. So 31 from the floor, 25 from the corner. That tells me where the center of my toilet paper roll should go. Once I float this in, if I do a good job, it's going to be hard to find this plywood. Might be able to knock it out, but it's a good idea to take a measurement.
This is not sped up. I'm just incredibly fast with a drywall knife. Do not be jealous.
So now we're going to get started on texturing, and the patch that we just did is still pretty damp. Not really ready for texture if you were doing a full project. We want to move forward so that you can see the installation, the reinstallation of that toilet paper roll. And we're going to use our Ready Mix Texture in a Bag. Easy Pro Texture manufactures this texture gun and this Ready Mix Texture in a Bag that allows you to do orange peel and knockdown out of the same bag. I start out by pulling the trigger, and while the trigger's pulled, I set the pressure to 60 psi. We're going to get started. I've shook the bag up before I got started, so I'm ready to go. Here we go. And that quick, we got our texture shot for our patch, and we're just going to stand back for a little bit and let that dry. So what I've done here is I want to show you how strong this plywood is. I already put one screw in the bracket for this side, no anchors, just a screw, just like you see right here. I'm going to sink this screw all the way in. That's how strong that bracket is, just with one screw. And look, you can't see it in this drywall. So as a demonstration, just to show you how strong this is, we hung 8 pounds of water and water jug on our toilet paper roll. And just so that you know that it's totally honest, there's the roll, there's the jug, and it's not light. So here we are on the backside of our training wall, and we have already done the installation of the plywood. We've floated it in, we've done the texture. It's literally invisible from the other side. We've also mounted our toilet paper roll, and I want to show that where I was saying on the other side that there's just 2 screws, 2 simple wood screws holding that on now, and we hung a gallon of water on that, no problem. You can see that the plywood is very solid in the wall. It becomes part of the wall. It's attached to the studs. It's a great way to mount anything that you need to mount that you're having trouble with pulling out of anchors. So I'm ready for those comments that say that this is overkill for this particular project, but I guess it really depends on how many times you've had to deal with this. And I have a few rental properties that I have to deal with, and I can tell you that this is a solution if you have a problem with kids or teenagers or anybody who's just not careful and pulls the toilet paper roll off the wall. Another important thing to keep in mind for this application is that when you have a towel rod that extends not just to a single bay but to 2 bays, you want to just keep in mind that you can do this across a portion of wall as large as you want to do. It's just a matter of floating it all in and having it look good. But the reinforcement that you get behind it will allow you to put a towel rod there, and for the kids to yank on that towel rod and not pull that towel rod off at any time in the future. We did this with just 2 screws. And 2 screws, it's that solid. Hey, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you would like to check out our products, click on the link below in the description for Easy Pro Texture. And to check out our other videos, please click on the link up here.